Hello, callers. Welcome back to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on some interesting updates. We begin with Lamine Yamal as manager Xavi has complete trust in the prodigious Barca teenager. We are going to be discussing more on that as we progress. Secondly, talking about Frankie de Jong, as Frankie de Jong, talking about his future in a recent interview, claims, I want to stay at Barca all my life. We are also going to be discussing on that. So as we get right into the full stories, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Barcelona's recent nil-nil draw against Getafe, was largely marred by the number of cautions the referee had to sanction during that game, as many as 10 red cards, sorry, as many as 10 cards, which is 8 yellows and 2 reds, got out of the official's pocket, and even Xavi got the taste of it by receiving his marching orders in the second period. However, one thing that did slip out from the game was Xavi's trust in the 16-year-old prodigy Lamine Yamal. According to a report from Sport, the manager's trust in the versatile young star is total, and this can be understood by the fact that before introducing experienced names like Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres, Xavi Hernandez turned to 16-year-old prodigy Lamine Yamal with the hope that he could do some magic. Of course, I think that's the trust that speaks volumes, isn't it? Despite being just 16 years of age, Yamal has exhibited confidence, and this is exactly what Xavi needed to break the rigid Getafe defense. Although Yamal could not be on the score sheet, his threat was inevitable. Against Tottenham in the Joan Gamper Trophy, Yamal was involved in the last 3 goals, and his outing against Getafe was no different. The 16-year-old was involved right from the moment he got on the pitch. He first set up Pedri deep towards the goal, and shortly after this, he sent an inviting ball to Ansu, who failed to beat David Soria. Overall, the 16-year-old was an absolute menace for the Getafe defense, and although he did miss a shot, the early signs are extremely positive. Judging by his recent performance in top-flight football, it is not hard to see why Xavi trusts him a lot. And even the player who is still a diamond in the rough is repaying the faith. For now, the manager would want to integrate Lamine Yamal slowly into his first team plans. Meanwhile, the youngster can assess the work of others, and continuous growth is rightly expected from there on. Lamine Yamal played yesterday, and I was so happy when Xavi called upon the player to do warm up before entering the pitch. And I think, from the look of things, Xavi is beginning to put a lot of trust in 16-year-old Lamine Yamal. First and foremost, looking at the player's age, just being 16 and being start putting this kind of trust and called upon for the first team, it shows the kind of talents that Lamine Yamal have. I mean, like generally for anybody to be called at this age to future for a first team as a first team regular, whatever, it shows that the talent is too much, because hardly do we see players from this very young age just come and start playing for the first team or for the senior team. It shows that the player's quality is just so immense, and that is the case with Lamine Yamal. Of course, Lamine Yamal have been there since last season, but I think he just played just one official game. That was against Real Betis, which he did so well. I think his best performance was still against Tottenham last week at the Joan Gamper Trophy, which Barca won 4-2. He came and instantly changed the game when Barca were at a losing point, losing 2 goals to 1, and Lamine Yamal made a difference. So Xavi continues to rate him highly, and from the look of things, the player is going to feature more regularly. And I think this report doesn't come as any big surprise that Xavi have complete faith and, of course, trust in Lamine Yamal as the player continues to show the top class quality he is. And I think that's something great to see him doing this. And yesterday, the game against Getafe, honestly, I was so impressed. Even though we didn't win that game, it was a disappointing performance. But I think Lamine Yamal was one of the standouts for the very short time he played, because he came in and we saw how, since Rafinha left with that red card, the attack was just there. Like, it was dead. Like, to be honest, the attack was dead. But when we saw Lamine Yamal come in, we saw some deadly crosses, deadly assists. I think the best one was that one he gave Ansu Fati right at Ansu Fati's feet. He fed Ansu Fati to score. Very easy goal, but Fati had to, put it wide. I mean, over the bar, which was, I think, if Robert Lewandowski was the one at that position, that was a clear goal. Make it 1-0 and bang, 3 points to start our season. But it wasn't meant to be. But I think Lamine Yamal still continues to show why Xavi should love him and trust him. And I think definitely if he continues like this, it won't surprise me that Xavi will use him more often than expected. But let's remember that he's still young. His bones are not still too strong. So even if he shows the best level that you can ever imagine, Barca should take it gradually. And I definitely believe that his time will come. You just need a consistency. From the look of things, he's a player with natural skills, natural quality to do things. Then on to the final story of discussion. After a very topsy-turvy start to life at Barca, which was followed by some unsavory transfer drama, Frankie de Jong has slowly but surely settled into the Barca boots. The Dutchman, who arrived from Ajax 2019, has now spent 4 years with the Catalans, and he's growing into his roles and responsibilities, looking closer to realizing his tremendous potential every game. There is no doubt he is a fan favorite and once again has re-established himself as one of the cornerstones of the project. Today, 26-year-old Frankie de Jong spoke to Spanish outlet El Periodico in a lengthy chat about his journey, reflecting his aspirations. Let's talk about the captaincy issue, the Barca connection, and more. About his love for football, Frankie said, "I have loved football since I was a kid because my father, mother, grandparents also loved it." On always improving, he said, "You have to improve in life as a person and as a player. I feel good, comfortable, happy in the city, in the club, and it's still like that." On being self-critical, he said, "There are many things I could have done better so far. The first few years I could have been much more important for Barca. It's not that I didn't try, but maybe I could have had more influence." So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.